vehicle retrieval system. Select. Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location. Your vehicle, please visit us again. ASOP vehicle retrieval system. Please visit us again. Goodbye.
for God's sake. Have I been muted all this time? That's not great, is it? Is that what
Yes.
you... Thanks, Johnny. Okay. So you've gathered some of what I was talking about without actually seeing
enjoying it.
it. What, enjoying the quiet? Okay, so what I was talking about is how you can go to here and switch all these on to make your HUD have a lot more information, and also how you go to escape and scroll down. It's alright, this is a practice for something I want to do. Okay.
Way too much.
So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to move the speed limiter up a little bit, which is that white line there. You can use your mouse wheel, and whatever key, it's usually, I think it's control or space, you'll find you'll start to lift up. And once you're up, we need to bring the gear up, which, if I remember my keyboard, is N. Okay, and then you start moving forward with bog standard. This is me trying to think of the keys for what I want to do next week. Anyway, so this is basically you'll move forward using bog standard FPS keys, WASD, and also Q and E. Look, so you can use these, you can strafe left and right, and we can go backwards and forwards just using the keys on the keyboard. Okay, what we need to do now, we're going to change something which is really confusing that they call master modes, and I believe the keys are V and B. So if we hit V, it changes through different areas. If you look here, you can see nav, and that's nav for scan, QT, and what was the other one? Flight. Okay, so what we want to do is put it onto QT, and we need to lift our nose up. Now we're at Orison, and Orison is one of the easiest places to take off from, and rather than base everything on your main planet, we're gonna go up to somewhere called Seraphim Station. And if you put your cursor on Seraphim Station, we can quantum to it, but there's a message saying that it's disabled in atmosphere, so we need to keep moving up towards it until the quantum kicks in, which is now. And once it's done, oh my goodness me, what is quantum? It's B, isn't it? I think, or I believe it changed to trigger. What is it on the keyboard? Well, it isn't B, is it? B is changing that. Okay. I don't know the key for that. Good grief. So I think it's trigger nowadays. Is it left mouse key? You can see I'm not using keyboard and mouse, can't you? I know. It's a good job. This is why I wanted to do this. Go through some of the things so I understand, because next week over in the UK it's school holidays. That's the idea. Okay, right, so here's Seraphim. And if it's, at the moment it's quite light so we can see, but if it's really dark, you can tap the tab key and see an outline. And what we're looking for is where these two struts are sticking out. Can you see that on the scan pattern there? So we need to move closer, and then when we get closer, again we can call the ATC like we did before, but this time it'll be the ATC for Seraphim. And there's something else I forgot to do. I did have another account, but for some reason I could never get the other account working. Any ideas, Johnny? Multiple accounts. I thought I could just log in and it would work, but it didn't. It wouldn't log in. So as you get closer, again, F1.
Johnny said, "Ooh, mine fine."
Yeah, just by changing the account on the launcher. Call the ATC again and it'll allocate your hangar. That's what I thought. I'll have to have a look at that and get it working. Okay, so we've been assigned a landing bay, which is here. If you can see these circles, you're the other side. Yeah, I'll have a look. So we need to go and land in the hangar. And again, just simply using WASDF control and space, we can maneuver ourselves around so that we can go and land. One thing you want to do when you're coming into land is the speed limiter. You want to keep it fairly low, and this will help you because it'll keep your speed low down, especially on keyboard and mouse. The other thing is, by default, when your wheels come out, which is N, right, it will slow your ship down a lot. And again, that's not something that you really want, to be honest. Once you get used to it, you can sort of land, you get your gear down inside. And I'm not sure why this has just dropped out the sky, but never mind. Probably pressed a button that I shouldn't have done. Anyway, we're down, switch your ship off. This is going to be quite a short stream, you do realise. To get out your seat, you need to press and hold Y down. The reason for that is, back in the day, when people used to be going through quantum in a single-seater ship, they would accidentally hit the key and eject themselves out in the middle of space. And I think we've all done that, haven't we, Johnny? Okay, and here we are, and we can put the ship away. And to be fair, I still, even now, ever since I started playing, find this location the easiest place to work with. Once you stop here, everywhere you need to go to is very easy to get to, and it's a great area of Stanton to actually learn, to be fair. But before we actually move on, there's a few things we need to do. If we die, we're going to end up back on the planet that we started at, which is a pain in the ass, because you will die a lot when you first start, whether you accidentally crash into things, whether you mess up your landing, whether you get shot by someone or you do some of the missions and get it wrong. You are going to die a lot, and you will go back to where you started, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. So what we're going to do is go to the local hospital. Call an elevator, holding the F key and click, and wait. There are known issues with some of the elevators, or lifts as the proper name is. And what will happen is the lifts will open, but there'll be no lift. Don't go in when it's a black hole. Scroll down. Right, we'll go to the lobby. You don't need to scroll for the lobby, it's there. And here we are at the lobby. Okay. So to get ourselves so that we spawn here instead, we go around to the hospital, and just through the door on the left hand side there's a couple of screens, and you go to one of these screens that says regeneration. Click the screen, and then what we want to do is, at the moment my location is set here anyway, so yours will look like this. And what we want to do is transfer our imprint from here over to Seraphim Clinic. So we hit the button, it makes sure we want to do that, and we confirm. So now whatever happens, if we die, we're going to end up here, okay?
Feel better? Save more.
There's a few shops here. When you first start, you've got virtually nothing. You've got a helmet and a flight suit. Okay, so the station's back here. If you notice in the map on the top left, it gives you a map of the locations. What we're going to do now is go and get some basic things you're going to need when you start playing, okay? And we're going to do that by going to the Galleria and also the cargo deck. Each station is similar. Unfortunately, it's similar enough to look the same, but it's different. So when you're manoeuvring around, you'll see different food places, and this place will be in a different location, all on the same floor, but the colour of the lifts are the same, so those lifts will take us to where we need to go. You can see some food, and there's usually some food whether they serve anything or not, and this is where you go and get your ship. And if you look on the map, again, Mobiglass, select maps, you can start to have a little look, and there's labels. Internal transit, that means the lifts that go inside. External transit means how to get to the hangars, okay? So what we need to do is come out of this, and we're going to go, sometimes it does play silly buggers with the lights, look. We're going to go into the internal transit, and this takes you to different floors of the space station. We're at Hangars and Hubs, and we've got three options: Cargo Centre, Galleria and Hangars and Hubs. The first place we're going to go to is the Cargo Centre. Not every station has a cargo centre. Sometimes it has a refinery, which we won't be talking about today. Sometimes it has a cargo centre. But when you go up, and try and remember the way you come out the lift and turn down this diagonal path, there are cargo services, and you can also buy various things from here. And there's a couple of things you're going to need, okay? Don't worry about buying guns, weapons, ammunition. There's absolutely no point at this stage when you first start. If you look on here, we can choose the types of things we want to see. Okay, so what we want to start off is go for personal weapons, I think, and then we can buy some basic things that you'll need. At the top it says choose destination, so anything you buy in a shop will by default go to Seraphim Station. Okay, actually let me change this. Let's change from personal weapons and let's go to all categories, and let's scroll down and see what we can get. Right, this is, what's it called? It's called core armor, right? You don't need the whole suit, but you do need core armor to be able to put on a backpack. So we're going to buy some core armor. When you get your core armor, if you look, it tells you what temperature you can wear this for, so minus 61 and plus 91. It also tells you the size of the backpack you can carry, which is a medium light. Okay, so we're going to buy that. You click buy. We only want one, so click buy. The alternative is we can just click the quick buy at the bottom. As we scroll down, what we're also looking for is a backpack. So we should see a backpack somewhere. There it is, MacFlex backpack, and we can do a quick buy. Okay, now I said these items have been put at the station. If we go back at this location towards where we came in, which is over here, I think, you'll see a couple of stations or screens, and these screens are all over the place. This allows you to access the inventory that is in the station, and we've just put inventory in the station. So if we F, we can now see the inventory in the station. Ignore the fact there's a lot of stuff, because this is stuff of mine. So we want the backpack, okay, that we the armor we just bought, and you can see it at the bottom, and you can drag and drop it on. The problem is sometimes, and it might happen here, I'll show you what I mean, you put it on, you wait a few seconds, and then it comes back, right? If it does that, instead of just dragging it, when you right click it, you can equip. Okay, it'll still do it with that. Because this is storage now, it's showing us, right, a space and how much space we've got in this backpack. So we can put things in there. I hope this is making logical sense to those who know what I'm on about. Those that already know, other than the people who know me, are going to find it extremely boring, but you know, there's so many people starting at different times, and it will be a nice change to have people start who aren't just going, give us some money. Anyway, right, so there's a few things we need now, and what we're going to do is select personal weapons. This is a pyro tool, and it's one of the most important things as a new starter that you're ever going to use, okay? And what we want to do is initially put it in our backpack. So we're going to change the destination to the MacFlex rucksack backpack. We've also got the core, which is your main armour, and you can store things on there as well, but in this case we're going to put the pyro multi-tool right into our backpack, and we're going to choose quick buy. Not this time, matey, only on my normal streams. You can troll me about being boring. Okay, so there's some things here. One of the key things for when you start is a mining attachment. Another key thing is a true hold tractor beam. Okay. Now, it's always a good idea. You'll find that this little one will do up to certain weights, and it can do many other things depending on the attachments. This one can do one thing, but it will do bigger weights. It's a good idea to have one, so we're going to click buy. The batteries at the moment, as far as I'm aware, are not implemented, but eventually this will use batteries. As we scroll down, we've also got a fire extinguisher, which we're not interested in. So, when we walk away from the screen, right, if we stand here and we press I know that bit, you'll see the things we've just bought. And we can drag or equip these items. So if I say equip, you'll see it appear. Right, I've pulled it out, okay. So I'm going to put this back, or put it back on my side by holding R down. And now when we look, we should see it on the side, okay. At the moment it's got no modules in, and there's a couple of things we can do here. We can drag this true hold tractor beam and drop it on the module. Okay. So now when we use this, it's got a tractor beam in. I'll show you this in a minute. Or we can change it for the orbit mining beam. But there's another way we can do it, which is a little bit slicker, and I'll show you that in a minute when we've got what we need. If anyone's got any questions, please ask. If you're new to Star Citizen or you're thinking about jumping into Star Citizen, please feel free to ask any questions. I am unbiased. I tell it as it is, much to the chagrin of others. You have to look that word up. Right, so what we're going to do now is go to the Galleria. And the Galleria is where you can get food from. You can see the icons on the bottom. The first one's water. It's telling me I'm short of water a little bit, only a little bit. Short of food. And also, it depending on what level you are in Star Citizen, because sometimes you get a tea lady who's off today, and they'll make you tea while you play. Now, one of the first things you want to go to is this Kasaba place. You can buy clothes, but at this point it's not relevant. But what you can do is buy water. Now, most places sell water on the counter, okay? And the ones you're looking for are the blue and the green. There's the Vestal Virgin water, where that will basically replenish any fluids. There's this one here, a Cruise, where that will replenish a food portion and water, okay? However, you can only buy one at a time. When you buy something off a counter like this and you press F, it'll quickly buy it, you'll reach forward and grab it. And it puts it in this stupid mode. It never used to. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up pressing F again, right? And dropping this one and picking another one up. You'll often see drop drinks, burgers and things on the floor at some of these counters. And usually, if you see a burger or a chocolate, you can eat them. I mean, 5-second rule applies. But drinks as well, you'll often find full drinks on the floor for this reason. So before you try and do anything with this, if you simply do a left click of the mouse, you'll pull away from there. And now when you go to drink it, you can drink it from here. And that's fine, okay? But if you're stuck in that position, it's very easy to keep buying single ones. We don't want this at the moment, so I'm going to put that away by holding R, which isn't going to do it. Let's look on here. I'll do that in a minute. We're going to change this destination to our backpack again. Some of the screens, there's a few little issues, and every now and then they freeze. It never used to happen, but they do now. If you go to miscellaneous, you can buy multiple bottles of this and multiple bottles of that. If you use quick buy, you're only buying one. So you select the item, choose buy, and then choose how many you want. And I'm going to say buy 10 and say buy.
Nice choice.
Where did I put these? In my rucksack. And this one I'm going to buy 10. So now in my rucksack I'll have 11 bottles of both drinks. I'm also going to put some in the station, and that saves me coming back to the shop multiple times. So I'm going to put 21 in the station. That's because there's always one there.
I think you're going to be happy.
And I'm going to put 21 of these in the station. And each time I go out on a mission, I'll put 5 of each in my rucksack. You'll be surprised. You don't think you're going to end up dying of thirst. Thanks, Cock. But believe me, you do. And again, if you ask the people who are here watching, that's happened. You claimed your Valkyrie Sunday and your dead body was still in it. Is your dead body not supposed to be in it? Could you take all your things off you? There's a little armour shop here, look. If you fancy a change from the National Health suit, you can go in and you can buy yourself armour and a new helmet. If you look at this search, there's a particular suit which is the only one. You couldn't loot it. I think this whole system they've got is ridiculous, but I think it's because of the accidental things that go on. If you know the name of something, you can type in a partial and it'll bring all those things. So we've got the core, the legs, the helmet and the arms, and you can do quick buy on all of those and it'll go into the station. Okay, best way of coming away from a screen is to use the X and it will close it off. When you walk away it drags you a bit. There's also weapons here. We're not interested in that at the moment. There's also more weapons in various places down there. The ship weapons, there's various things, and at most of these stations you can buy weapons, ammunition, etc. At the hospital you can buy first aid stuff, and I'll go and show you that now. We'll go back down to hangars and hubs. The hospital is usually on the ground floor, or the entrances. And I don't know whether you noticed, but when we went to the hospital there was a little pharmacy on the side. And we can go, if you come here, this is for checking in and going to a bed to repair yourself, which you can do. But if you go to the pharmacy, it's still got this drink, look. There's a whole load of items you can buy here. Now, most of the time, you don't need everything. These red pens, let's change this from Seraphim to the backpack. Let's try and change it from Seraphim to the backpack. Feels like this screen's timed out, like I said. It will come back. I'll use the other one for now, but it may be the same. So let's change this to the backpack, and I'm just going to buy possibly 10 of these. There's another thing on here that you really want to look at. As you scroll down, there's a paramedical device. Hey, morning, yeah. But this here, lifeguard medical attachment, actually fits onto, right, onto your little utility tool. So you can buy a couple of these and I'll show you the difference. You can also buy, oh, I didn't need to buy 5, but hey, you can also buy lifeguard refills, these. So this is a very good way of being able to heal yourself when you get hurt. It'll only heal yourself up to a certain amount, but you can never have too few guns and things. If it's in your hand when you die, you're going to drop them, okay? Now there's another thing as well that is quite important, or I think it is. When you first start, there's some settings which are the graphics, and they are set to a default. I'll show you what I mean. They're down the bottom here. They're set to a default of 50, 50, 50. So this one's gonna, if I move it up, then I'll move this one down. Okay, and when it's at default, your screen and your graphics look very washed out. You can see the colours, there's a mistiness to it, if you see what I mean. Black or shadow isn't black, and by adjusting those things you'll find you can make this look a lot better. Now bear in mind, wrong button again, if you adjust them it may make everything a little bit darker. It does look great, but it looks darker. I use an OLED monitor, so my blacks are really black. So you might find going too low with your gamma is going to make it too dark for you. Okay, remember space is dark, and when the sun's not shining in your way, you'll find that it does look very dark. But there are always ways around it. As you can see, there's a difference already, and the black is going black and the orange is starting to pop out, and some of that mistiness is gone, and then the colours in the game already look much better, and you'll notice in your Hangar 2 and throughout the game. Right, we've got more things in our backpack, and what we can do is we can put this tool on our backpack. We can also put a gun on there. Okay, we've got water, and we can't drink the water with our helmet on, so we can take the helmet off, and the easiest way is using left Alt and H, and your guy will take the helmet off and store it. Oh, interesting. Store the helmet right on the back of his belt there. Okay. The keys for that are left Alt and H. Now that you've got your helmet off, you can have a drink. What, to display the FPS and everything? Is that what we're saying? So for a drink, all we've got to do is select which one we want. Now if you remember, I said the green one does food, right, and water, and you can see I need some food and I need some water. Now I'm not going to go and buy any food. What I'll do is just use the green bottle, and that may well fill us up. So I'm just going to say carry, and you'll see it appear in his hand, and then all we've got to do is press and hold the left mouse button. If we keep holding it, it'll drink all of it. If we let go, it'll stop, put the lid back on, and we can put it away, and you can see those figures going up, and in this instance, right, we're back to normal. There's no bins around here, so with it in your hand, if you click, you can click once and then you can try and find a bin or lob it in, but sometimes it just puts it down. Right, we can call our ship back out now.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
And let's have a little look. I think I'm going to call, what's the cutter got for? I'm just looking at the cargo.
To know if you said that a bring sub console and R underscore display info 1 will show FPS if you wanted to know it.
Oh right, no, sorry, I don't think I mentioned the console. I know what you mean. The only problem with that, I mean, if you notice on the bottom right, I've already got it, but I use my NVIDIA overlay for it because I play in 4K and the console data is too small for me to read. To be honest, I can't read it, so I use that mostly. I think they've got a new thing in which shows a graph, and it might be on there, but I just put that on the bottom, and then I can usually tell what's going on. Right, let's have a little look. So we'll get the Aurora back out. If you look at here, when you do get multiple ships, the ones that say retrieve means the ship is stored here. The claim means it's stored elsewhere and we need to claim it. Hey Pred. Yeah, it's the new Aurora. T-Lady said hello. And these other ones are ships I haven't even called out yet. So they're deliverable and you can call them to any station.
Hello, tea lady.
It is going to be rather slow, this, because it is going from scratch. Alright, Fred and others who watch my stream normally. So this tells us it's in the small hangar. So we can basically go to the small hangar and it'll be there. The other thing to note is on here there's now a search bar.
ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
So when you've got a lot of ships, you can literally type in there a partial and it will show you the ships. Okay? Another one you can do, if you've got a few ships but you've got some here, is click this bar and that will only show you the ships that are at this location. So this has been improved. It's been improved, but there's a bug. You can see the way the black sticks behind. Never used to, but when they introduced these features, there seems to be a bit of an issue. When you go to the lift, be careful about getting in a lift as someone steps out all the time. And then if you hold F and scroll down, you'll see your small hangar at the bottom, or your large hangar, or whatever appropriate size for your ship. And we should see the ship. Now this is another little issue, right? There's no ship, and we called it out definitely, and that's what I said before. So you might find it appear, but it'll be under the floor. So it's not a major issue, it's just yet another annoying little thing. They can follow you in the hangar, but as soon as they get in, they're trespassing. So it's not quite as bad as it was.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
Okay, let's have a look. So if we go back down, yeah, you can shoot them. You can actually shoot them. Obviously you can't, you might be able to in the hangar now, look, because you can use guns in the hangar. So if somebody is trespassing, you shoot them, you don't get crime stat for it.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval
Right, so let's call that ship again while I'm down here, which is right towards the bottom. It'll probably say it's already out, look, but it's not. Can you see? It says it's on the pad. It might have appeared while I was talking. No. So you'll have to put it away and put it back. One thing about Star Citizen, assuming you're thinking of buying, is it'll be the best thing you've ever played. And it'll be equally and opposite the worst, most frustrating game you've ever played. Sometimes you're lucky enough to get really good experiences, and sometimes it gets, yeah, it is, but it changes, and everything I'm saying here is subject to change. Again, this is stop moving. Come on, let me out. I'm a bit stuck to it because I didn't press the X. So this is the problem, and this is, I think, why they've introduced some of these quick search features, because if I scroll all the way down, it stops. So I'll put AU, and then there's the ship. No, it's not. I'll put SU because I can't see my keyboard. What a plonk. It says it's already on the pad, which we know it isn't, so I'll say store. And I'll wait till it's in there and then call it out again.
Vehicle selected. Stand by.
If anyone's got any questions, please jump in. If you're new to Star Citizen or thinking of it, please ask. As I said earlier, I am bluntly honest about it. I don't paint it all as red roses because it's not.
They're terrible.
Formers. Right, it looks like it might be coming up this time. Come on, let me go.
Your vehicle, please visit us again.
Right, okay, we've got it now. Right, before we take off, you've got to remember you haven't got your helmet on. It's not obvious at the moment, but believe me, when you're in the ship, there are a couple of little things you don't get to see. Now we've got the helmet on, you see the way that changes to a square from a circle. So what we're going to do is have a look and see if we've got a mission. When you first start, you get very basic missions.
Better start than the Mustang for anyone watching.
Oh yeah, the Mustang is not one I would suggest. In fact, I would go for the Cutter.
I saw a video saying Star Citizen will fall on its ass this year.
Another one. Another video. Jesus wept. Right, okay. So what we're going to do is go to contracts, and when you first start, right, you'll have a list of contracts. At the moment there's an event on, and it's called the priority event. I don't know why I can't say that all of a sudden, but what we're looking for is hauling, and there's usually a very basic starter mission for hauling, which is take 6 SCU of ship ammunition to August Dunlow. That is the spaceport that we started at. So
Russia said they've been going for the last 14 years. It's all good.
So say okay. You can also track the mission, abandon the mission, and share the mission if you've got any friends and you're in a party. So you want a ship that can handle 4 cargo containers. Okay. Now I'm going to say track, and if we go to maps, which we'll get to in a minute, we need to zoom out. As you zoom out, we go from the hangars, the ships and everything else, and we can see on here it's got deliver shipment. Okay, but first of all we need to get that cargo, and we get that from something called a freight elevator. Okay, in a small hangar, I believe there's 1 freight elevator, as you can see. In big hangars, you'll find there's 2. So we go to this freight elevator, we send the freight elevator down, bearing in mind that the freight is from here. I think it's from here, yeah. And we're going to send this down, and then the cargo, right, we can move it over to here and then bring the lift back up again. Now this is going to take a couple of trips by the looks of it. So we're going to bring this over, and what's this bit here? Ship ammunition. Okay, and then hopefully we can get this on. We'll bring this up. We can come out of this screen. And this is the cargo. Is this ship going to be able to take that cargo? I don't think it is. This is something you're going to have to be aware of. So let's have a look, shall we? I don't think it'll take it. I don't think it takes that size container. It might take that size. But do you remember at the beginning when we got that little utility, the one that's sitting on our side? If we move around, if you want to move around outside your body, press F4. If you hold Z, you've got free look around. Okay, so we're going to pick up that little weapon there, and it's normally 5. Okay, now we dropped into it a tractor beam, a true hole tractor beam, and that true hole tractor beam allows you to pick up and knock yourself over cargo. Okay, so can we get this on this ship? I'll be very surprised if not. I might have to change ships. Oh yeah, it'll fit there. I think I'll bang that into the ship. Now it looks like it might take that, and it might take one SCU, but it is not. There's my thingamajig gun. It is not going to take. I've lost my hanger now. This big one here. This is good to know, because next time I won't use the Aurora for my demonstration ship. Okay, so this is oh man, I tell you what, this little gun is really quick compared to what it used to be like. I usually use the big one. So you'll see this is far too wide for this ship, and there's no way we can fit it on. So I'm going to put it back over there. When you deal with cargoes, you probably noticed underneath the ship, as you go towards the cargo
That's
grid.
cool how it fits under there. Now that definitely makes me question how the cargo grid works on the F7C, cause there's a storage thing.
Okay, you see the way you see an outline, and when you put things on a cargo deck, you always want to make sure that it goes to the blue snapping point. You can let go of it anywhere, but if you can see this blue, doesn't matter where you put, look, it'll snap to that point there. So we're going to leave that there, and we'll just take this bit, and I'll have to use a different ship. This will only carry I think it's 4 SCU. That's a 2 SCU box. So had it have been a 2 SCU box, we could have used this ship. And this is the problem sometimes with some of the start ships. I can't remember how much the cutter is. But you have to be mindful of the size of the cargo and everything you're taking. We're going to hit flight ready. A lot of people use the keyboard, but it's probably a good idea to get into the habit of trying to find the switches in the cockpit. Right, we're already set to QT. We need to radio. Now you can put this radio call, the one where you hit F1 and go to comms, go to friends. We can hit Seraphim station there and it will call the station. However, if you do F11, it will go straight to that page. You can also bind a key to something like I do, so I just hit a button. I use joystick, throttle, foot pedals, head tracking, and some other device, and a gaming keyboard as well. So I've got a few odds and sods. So again, we're going to go straight up. Keep the speed limiter quite low. This is the thing, yeah. They really need some very low level cargo. Now there might be a 1 SCU or 2 SCU mission at the beginning. The problem is I am way past that, so it might have disappeared. Do you know what I mean? This is why I should have created another account, and then I can go through it. Okay, right, now the reason why I'm pointing to this, if we look, right, there are very few marks around, and we can see circles with a line through, which is something in space. We can see circles with a half filled in, which is a moon. Okay, a complete circle, there's another moon, look. A complete circle like that is a planet. So whether we'll be able to see that, let's have a look. No, it's not letting me do that, it's probably too far away. We should also see a yellow box. Now if we jump down, this works for any moon or any planet. If we jump down towards the center, which shows the name of the planet or moon, it will lower our height down a little bit, bearing in mind Horizon's big, and then we're going to start to see more things. So when you see a circle with a dot and the letters OM, that stands for orbital marker. Okay, and as you go round, you'll see some orbital markers up in space, like that one there, and you'll see some just on the edge. Okay, and you might find one above you. There's one there. That's OM1. Let's have a look. There might be one somewhere around here. There's another planet, maybe not. It depends where you are. So the way it works is, imagine that orbital marker 1 is on the North Pole. There's no north and south exactly, but it's on the North Pole. And orbital marker 2 is on the South Pole. 3, 4, 5 and 6 are around the equator, and this follows for every single moon, right, or planet. So if I go to orbital marker 1 here, this is going to allow me to see all the other orbital markers except orbital marker 2, which will be the opposite side. So he's further back from the planet, so we can see orbital marker 4, get going around the edge of the planet, orbital marker 5, orbital marker 3, here's orbital marker 6, okay, and we've got orbital marker 4, is that it? Yeah, okay, and we're sitting at orbital marker 1. If we look straight at the planet, we can see orbital marker 2, which is the opposite side of the planet, and this will help you navigate to wherever you want to go to on the planet, okay, rather than being on the side and jumping from one to the other to the other to the other to get round. Go to orbital marker 1 or 2, and then you should get a good view. A good example is yellow. When you go to yellow, you have to go to certain fights in the asteroid belt, but you can see the whole asteroid belt from orbital marker 1 and 2. There's another special symbol that you should be able to see, and that is the one that's basically highlighting where the spaceport is. There's another one that's telling me that we've got to deliver over there. So let's jump over to orbital marker 5. We'll have a look down here. Okay. Now, if we go back to what I said at the beginning and just jump down here a little bit. Back towards the planet, we can now see a pentagon. Can you see that purple pentagon just underneath the yellow? That is the spaceport. So we can point at it. I can't know, it's actually the main city. I do apologise. So it's the main city on planets. If you're too far away from the planet, you can't see the orbital markers. Or if you're at the wrong height, if you come out of the space station, you won't see them very well. So it's always best to jump to that centre marker first. Nowadays, they've made it easier for people coming down and added in a really bright white light, because so many people used to crash either into the planet or couldn't find the space station where they needed to go. However, you only did that a few times and then you learned, but now rather than people learn, there's a lot of people will just moan, okay, and then they've created this bright white light. So if we have a little look, that is the main city. Can you see the bright white light over there? That's the spaceport. Okay, So when we used to do it, we just recognise what the shape is. The other thing is when it's dark, people crash into planets and moons. And if you press tab, you can see what's down there, look. It's not difficult, it gives a quick scan. So you can find your way, you get used to looking at shapes. But they've also added something recently, again, because people moan. Instead of learning how to do things, they moan about it. So you can switch on, right, like a night vision, and this is all the glass in the cockpit, and it basically gives you this faux night light. It's not coming from your visor, it's coming from the ship. Not all ships are done yet. This is an updated version of the Aurora, and so it is on this ship. Okay.
What key does that?
That's right, Alt and L. Now I don't have a right Alt on my keyboard. I haven't discussed master modes at the moment, but we're still in Quantum. Does anyone know what the proper keys are for master mode? I think V is one of them, right? So that changes between nav and SCM. Is it B? No. That's my undercarriage. Is it a C? No. I don't know what the keys are for master modes. Anybody? Basically, when we know what the keys are, you've got master modes. Now you see SCM, you can cycle between guns, scanning and missiles, right? And if you change master mode, now you've got, it says nav mode, QT, flight and scan.
I have them on my hoodies.
Yeah, me too. Now, if you notice, the crazy thing is, right, if you want your shields up, you've got to be on this master mode, SCM, but your speed is limited, and it's really pathetic. So if you're flying through an asteroid belt, right, your speed's limited, you can't have your shields on and fly through the asteroid belt safely. It doesn't make sense, really doesn't, and they're changing it, so I know it's gonna be different. Once you get used to it, it's okay, but it's an implementation in a way to force people fighting to fight closer, because some nutcase thinks that spaceships, right, thinks that spaceships are actually like World War II airplanes and wants to see World War II style air-to-air combat in space, whereas in reality spaceships are like helicopters with no gravity, and that's not how they fight. Do you know what I mean? And the only reason why it looks so weird is people really don't know how to fight and fight from the furthest distance away, which is not necessarily the best way of doing it. Right, as we come closer, we need to call for a hangar. So I've put a request in. So there we go. So we've got a jolly Irishman who's managing the hangars. Now most of the hangars here are top down. There are hangars that are flying, and once you get used to it and you know what ship you're flying, you'll find you'll get a certain type of hangar. So because I've got lots of large ships as well, I've got this really enormous hangar. Sure, I've pressed the button that switched something off, you know, because this is travelling a little bit more than I expect it to. Anyway, let's have a look. Where's my hangar? You watch, I've got a top. I haven't got a top down, have I? No, I haven't. Yes, I have. It's over here. So if you head towards the ice cream, see there's like a little ice cream shape. And again, keep your speed limiter on slow, and it'll mean you can do a lot more gentle movements. This, I've switched. Oh, there we go. That's what it is. You plonker. I thought I'd done something. It was in decouple mode. I'll explain that to you after. Okay, so we can go in. Drop the undercarriage down. I'm going to end up closer this end because that's where we go. Well, they should get rid of gimbals. No, I like the if you've got no gimbals, you can have a bigger size weapon. I used to really like that. I never used gimbals and always have a bigger size weapon, but now it's just ridiculous. Right, okay, so we're here, and all we got to do is get this cargo and pop it in the hole. When we go back,
They should straight up take it out.
yeah, well, when we go back, remind me to explain what coupled and decoupled is. Okay, so we've got two hangers here. Look, I can use either one. I'm going to bring out the big, right? This is the big tool. All this will do is tractor. The range is further and the weight it can carry is heavier. So I'm going to pop that there. You might think you're in there, but you're not actually there. There you are. Okay. Now I can go and get the other bit. Now I could send this down and it should just go down and it will store that here, I believe. Normally I don't do partials, but we'll see. It's going to come up with a number and tell me how many I've got and how many I need. Okay, so there's the one. So I'll confirm that. Hopefully it doesn't mess this up. Okay, so that's gone in. Mission's not complete though. I've got another one to do. Now that other one won't fit in this ship. Oh, there's another thing I haven't mentioned. When you walk in, right, it's your WAS and that. If we have a look outside and we normal walking pace, okay, holding my finger on walk. If you start to scroll your mouse wheel forward, we're walking faster. Now we're starting to jog. Now we're starting to run a bit quicker, and eventually we can really run. And if you hold shift, you'll run even more. Okay? That's using your mouse wheel. So you can walk quite slow. Forgot to mention that. So F4 will put me back in there. There's two positions for F4. This is where I left it last time because it remembers. So you can reset this if I add an asterisk. By F4, an asterisk will reset the view. Okay. Let's go back round. Shut the door. Get back in the ship. Call the ATC.
Looks like you're all set to leave.
Door slightly opening, so just put a smidgen of this and I can go up really slow. Should get there as the doors are opening, hopefully. Now there's something else as well that I haven't switched off that you should. We'll change these master modes back to quantum and we're going to look for Seraphim. Now, whenever you come out of a spaceport, there is always, right, a space station above. Okay? Now, I can't remember where I've done this.
Versus coupled mode.
Yeah, I'll do it. When your undercarriage is out, you move really slow, right? Now, I'm not doing that at the moment. And there's another switch that you need to switch off, because when you take your undercarriage out, it will slow you down to a crawl. And if you remember, we did the hood ones at the beginning, default hood. As you move up to the top of these, you've got something called automatic slowdown on. It says yes. Take that off. What that means is when you do drop your undercarriage, you'll be going at the same speed as you're going. If you haven't got it, if it's on, it'll literally slow you down. Okay, so decoupled mode, right, we'll quantum up to there. When we're in space, we'll show you decouple mode. Now, because I've got the labels on, right, you can see this there. It's boxed, and when it's boxed, it's selected. So coupled mode is on, and I explain the differences too. Right, we're just going to change it over to flight. So with coupled mode on, right, we're going in the direction of travel there, okay? So we should have a velocity vector somewhere. You can also see all these specs. These specs are there because if they weren't there, and they're coming through the ship, these specs are there. If they weren't there, it would feel like you're not moving. Okay? So coupled mode, when I steer the ship, you see those specs change a little bit. There's my velocity vector. Can you see it following me? So while it follows me, it means I'm going to be going round, and I'm actually going down, and then it catches up because I've got all these thrusters on the ship that are trying to keep me moving in the direction I'm pointing. With coupled mode, which I'm going to disable, right, I'm now going to turn the ship round and point it that way, but I'm still moving to the right. And if I turn it round that way, I'm going backwards. Okay, now because there's all these little thrust vectors and things on, it will basically slow me down eventually, and I'll be heading the direction. But you'll find if you're going to start trying to fly a little bit more interestingly, you can switch this off all the time, but you'll find it's better to use a combination of coupled and decoupled mode. So you can actually change your direction. If I put more thrust on there, it'll change even quicker, and the vector changes. You see me going darker there. Okay, whereas if I put coupled mode on and I turn around that fast and I'm thrusting away, right, it's still going backwards and I'm going to black out. Because the ship's moving at speed in one direction, I've just spun it round and I've blacked out now. So coupled mode just keeps your nose pointing in the direction of travel, whereas decoupled mode you can point anywhere. A good practical use, apart from when you want to say do racing, is if you're in a big ship and you've got little fighters behind you, you can flick it to decouple mode, rotate over, and then shoot at the ships behind you. There's a lot of other uses as well. Right, we actually want to be at the space station. Again, we can it's gone dark now. But to me, that's more than ample. As long as we can press this button, which is tab, which is a quick scan, we can see where we're going. We don't need any more. Or you can use this. But if you're on a moon or a planet and it's dark, right? If someone's trying to sneak up on you, you're going to see them. And to me, that just ruins another area of the game, because people are moaning about crashing. You soon learn. I mean, I've crashed with all my money's worth in cargo before now into stuff, and everybody else who's played will crash into moons and planets, but it's very rare now, and you get used to how your ship will slow down and all the rest of it.
This game does have excellent control of bad guys though. If you're bad in this game, in the areas that are protected, you are going to prison.
Yeah, you do go to prison. We're not going to cover that bit off yet. This is just all basics of moving around and doing some basic cargo. As you do a cargo mission, right, once you've done your first one, I don't know why I'm looking there for. Right, if I look for the ice cream, there will be an ice cream. There it is, look behind me, can you see? Looks like an ice cream cone. And there's my hangar. So I'll just move down and round. Very bright, you know, and so really you don't want those things switched on when it's this bright.
Night vision thing is awful.
It is, and it's different colours depending on the ship. Switch it off. As I said, it's totally unnecessary. Right, we can't use this ship to put this cargo on, and that is something you're going to have to be really aware of.
It doesn't even feel part of the ship.
I know. It's the interesting thing is when you have I still not got that piece of cargo here? When you I've got somebody.
Like a stupid filter.
That's exactly what it is, more or less. You know what? I think that cargo's disappeared. So you might not even be able to break that down into 2 trips. Let's have a look. See what happens. See? Where's the cargo? That should still be here. See what I mean? And that's a surprise. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I did put the cargo back in the thing and I left it in the elevator. So what's it done with the contract?
Did you accidentally eject it?
What, the cargo? I couldn't do. No, I couldn't pick it up. I left it in the station. So the mission's still active. Right? Let's see if it reappears now I've come back in. Should still be here. Now I'll put it back on the cargo rack, if you remember, or the cargo grid even. That's a bit of a bugger, isn't it? Unless it suddenly appears. It doesn't look like it's going to.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That is a real bit of a bugger. So now that mission's completely screwed up because I can't get any more cargo. You watch, I'll bring this up and as if by magic it'll appear. Nope. So that mission is completely screwed up. That's a good example of how not to do it, or be mindful of what ship you're in. this. Bit of a dent. Interestingly, we have I got one here? There's also that little tool, the one I said to you at the beginning, get. As you start to go to different places, you'll find, if this works, there's also a tool there called the Cambio Light SRT attachment. I'll use that one there. And that is another little tool that will fit in the that little tool. And if I've got some of these single containers, which it doesn't look good, I've only got the big ones, then I'd be able to fix it. But now I've got more tools, right? How many have I got? 1, 2, 3 plus the one that's in. One of the things you can do, which is really useful, is go into inventory, and we can take this and we can attach it, I believe. Oh, I haven't got anything to attach it on, have I? I haven't got any armour to attach. I can attach these, which is the health. These are med pens. But because I haven't got any trousers on or anything else, I don't think I can attach these anywhere. I was going to say what you can do to this little tool is if you've got those attached or on your body, and I don't think it works unless, it might work if they're in your backpack. If you hold F and right click and go to customize and click here, when you scroll, oh, it might do it yet. There we go. So hopefully.
Just underscore Glenn said, howdy.
Hey Glenn, you're alright, matey. I don't think it's done it. No, it's only got the tractor. I think you need to have them on your body, and then when you look at this, it will change. Allow you to basically, oops, I don't want to do that. Allow you basically to change your tool, right, to whatever you've got available. But it needs to be on your backpack, and you literally just scroll through. Has it done it? Let's have a look. Oops.
How you doing?
Alright. Not too bad. Yeah, it has changed it, look. Yeah, I got a mining laser on there, look. Okay. Right, so basically then, I think that's enough of the basics. Going down, learning how to go around planets. Let me just go on one nav thing to show you with respect to yellow. That'll help. If anyone's got any questions, please jump in. I know there's not many on, but if someone's learning, just feel free to ask. One of the things you've got to bear in mind with cargo is once you've started making a little bit of money. Oh, this mission, by the way, we can just get rid. If we go into contracts, we can abandon it. However, right, there's reputation you build up. So the missions that you do, you get reputation, okay? For instance, my cargo one's quite up here. But if you mess up a mission and you abandon it, you can drop from here down to here, or even towards the top of there, especially if it was a big mission. So just bear it in mind. I think they've disabled it temporarily, because there's still some issues every now and then with cargo and stuff. Let me jump over to yellow to show you how the I'm in the queue. That was a quick queue. Make sure I don't hit that door. Always be careful when you come out, there might be people waiting above you. So if we want to go to yellow, right, and it's around Orisa, and we can switch into quantum mode, and as long as we haven't got any sort of course already set, I'll show you what I mean. Say there's somewhere over there. I think when it says I'm too close to the space station. Let's move away a little bit. Right. If we look, we can see yellow over there, okay, as a coincidence. And we can see other places too. Am I still... No, it's coupled. So I was going too fast and then suddenly turned again. It doesn't like it. It does, it's fine, but it's not good for flying around it.
Russia said, have you covered the food mechanic as well?
Yeah.
And what gear you should definitely have on you.
Yeah, I covered that, and there's no weapons or anything like that because there's no point at this stage. Right, so we can see yellow here. Now, if I wanted to go to yellow, but I'd got a course to Daymar set, and I'll show you what I mean. If we go to maps, you can scroll out and type in where you want to go to. You can also double click, say we're going to Daymar, double click, hit route, it'll plot a course. Okay? Now, when we come out of there, it's plotted a course to Daymar. However, what that means, you can see it's pointing to me. It says, first of all, I've got to go here. And then when I go to OM1, I've got to go to Daymar. But it means I can't, even though I can see it, I can't go anywhere else. So sometimes when you have gone from A to B and use the map, if your course is still plotted in that map, you won't be able to see any other markers or anything, and it gets confusing. So just go back to maps. Okay, let's zoom back out and then cancel. And now you've done that, you're back in manual mode, and now we can see yellow and we can go to yellow. Okay, we'll jump over to yellow. There's a lot of missions. Some of the early missions take place over here in the asteroid belt. You can see the asteroid belt is here. You can see the marker there. You might see a marker behind the planet, which is where you need to go. And you're going to end up jumping to there, then somewhere else, and so on. So, as I said before, if you go up to OM1, when you turn around and look back at the planet, you've got a view of the whole of the asteroid belt and all of the orbital markers. Triangles are points of interest. They usually change colour depending which side they are, but when you're close to the planet, you can point to one, it'll take you there. Now, here's a good tip. Whenever you jump, if you notice, my speed and speed limiter is off. Many years ago, when you were quantuming, they used to you'd have pirates pull you out of quantum, and there'd be wrecks of other ships and sometimes an asteroid. And if you've left your throttles on full tilt, by the time you realise what was going on, your ship's moving at full tilt and you would crash into one of these wrecks or the asteroid. And when you're carrying all your money's worth in cargo, you would lose the lot and your ship. All right. So if we go down to this marker, for instance, when it goes red like that, it tells me it's over the other side. I can tell by 530 odd kilometres, I know it's the other side of the planet. So it tends to drop you about 23 kilometres out. If you change to flight, it's really difficult to see. If you leave it on quantum, you can see the mark. It's also very dark. If I go heading towards that, I'm probably going to try and go as quick as I can. However, if I turn upside down and travel here, right, so we keep a little look on that, we can see where it is. This is going to be much faster because we've got no atmosphere. Okay, and you wait till you're above it. Okay, turn round. We can see where it is now. There's a whole load of ships there for some reason. We can now get rid of that. We can see the lights and we're going to head towards it. And this is why people had problems, right? So just be wary. Oh look, now I've come out of quantum. I've got no thrust or anything, but this is something else that is a bug that happens. Right, so I've just flicked through some of my nav modes. Right, now go back to flight. Now it works. Right, so I'm going to head down there. Now, I have no idea how far it is, but I'm not going to allow myself to go really fast. But if you look on the right hand side, you're going to see an altimeter coming in. If I use tab, right, can't see that, but look at that altimeter. Can you see it on the right? It's telling me I'm 5,000 meters above this place. Okay. Now you can go as fast or as slow as you want. It's up to you. This is a very thin atmosphere on this moon, so the atmosphere is not really going to slow you down. There's no burn or anything like that. Remember, my throttle is on my left, not the one on the right. That's a boost. But as we get closer, we can start to see it. We can also see quite a few ships there. I've also got lights that I can switch on, ship lights, which is L. The light throw, right, and you can see the labels lit up to tell me it's on, is extremely short. So we're going to be pretty close, so that's why I'm going to try and keep on top of them. As we come in, we can see landing pads. I'm slowing all the way down, and at some point we'll see some lights hit and we'll start seeing more features. There's my lights. We can now see where the surface is, just coming down a little bit lower, flatter. Now there might be a big mountain or a hill right at the back of this, but you see how I've slowed down enough. Now we can see what's going on. And if I want to land, I can go and land somewhere. Just be wary of some of these landing pads. You can land on them but your ship will disappear in. You see all this patterning as well on the surface. That is one of the things they're going to try and get rid of on the new Genesis model. So this here doesn't look that hilly, but you'll be surprised it probably is, look. Alright, so when I park on there, just be mindful, because if it is steeper than you think and you park on your side, you're suddenly going to find yourself rolling downhill. Okay, put my legs out and land slowly. Surprised how many times you'll land with a rock underneath you or something. See the way I'm tilted forward, that's telling me I'm on a bit of a hill. Okay, I've got my helmet on. When I get out, I'm going to leave the engines on. Okay, so I can't remember, I'll power off, put the engines on, and I should have some shields. Get out my seat. I have no idea what's going on there, I might end up dead. But you don't need this lampy bollocks, to be fair. You just need to learn how to do what you need to do. This has got quite a light atmosphere. See, my ship's not happy, leaning forward on a slope. A light gravity, I mean. Can you see the way it's leaning down? So you do need to be careful. T will bring on a light on your helmet, and as you can see, it's quite a light gravity. And this is just one of those points of interest. You'll find ships lying around here that have been left. People have tried to get cargo, it's not worked. They could have crashed out. The ship's left, but there's a lot of these places. I don't know whether anyone's in this ship. Looks like the cargo. Right, the cargo lift isn't working. And the guy who flies this ship.
Now that you said, hey, gents.
Hey, hello. What's it, Nerva-Jew? Welcome. I'm just going through basics. Yeah, it's at the moment. I've just found something a little bit odd I didn't expect, but I'm just going through some of the basics for people from scratch. So again, right, this has been abandoned. And if we can move this away, we could probably strip this. If it was worth it, taking the guns off, melting it, we could definitely take that. But it looks like someone's gone to do a cargo mission and it's all gone wrong. But that's how you get down to planets in the dark without using the lamp thing, or if your ship hasn't got it, just use common sense. And you'll soon start to be able to learn which side of the planet something is on compared to where it is. What the problem we used to have is that people would fly thinking that the marker was on this side of the planet, and then you'd end up crashing straight into the planet. So we switch this off now. If I can hit T. Alternatively, as I said, on some ships there is when I switch it on, I have to put the lights off otherwise. So see my suit. It's because it's so cold out there, my suit started to freeze. Do you see what I mean? You don't need
Common sense needs
that.
to be changed to rare sense with the amount of edits I meet on a daily basis.
Oh, I know. I can't believe they put this bloody night vision on. You know, you learn by crashing. You crash into things you don't know are there. and then next time round, with a bit of luck, you learn it's there and don't do it again. And if you do it again, you'll learn the next time. But what this does, basically, it stops people from bothering. It just defeats the object of space being a dark place. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I don't want to get too much into ranty mode. Okay, so you can see there's quite a lot of ships there. I'm not sure whether some of the salvage tools will work in this. The other thing, again, when you're pulling away from a planet, and I know this because I had a caterpillar full of diamonds once many years ago. When you point your ship up like this, right, make sure that you are moving forward. It used to be very easy in the old days to go full power and you are actually going backwards. But when you've got this is the enhanced hood with everything on, the labels are too much for me personally. So we'll switch those off. I don't need them, but I do like the enhanced hood. I mean, there's a lot more settings that you could possibly play with, but to be fair, there's no point going into them at all at this point in time, because it'll just confuse the hell out of you. Okay, so when you go backwards, your throttle symbology starts at the top, and this will change to a minus. So I'm quite confident knowing now, right, that if I full thrust out of here, that I'm actually going to go forward. But that's how you get down somewhere in the dark, okay? If I stop and change it to reverse, you'll see the way that symbology changes. I'm just using my booster to slow down here a little bit. There are other ways of slowing down. So if I change my ship over to go backwards, because I use joystick throttles and things, most of the things are done on buttons. Okay, so if I go backwards, watch what happens. He says, there we go. See the way they go to the top? That changes to a minus. So this is backwards. So as soon as I start to move, right, it jumps to the top. Whereas when I'm going forwards, it'll be forwards. All the buttons and switches that are set up in the game can be changed. Is that Seraphim? Let's get over to that way again. Right. So this is really important, okay? Everybody complains, or a lot of people complain about things changing when there's patches. If you go to options and you go to key bindings, you can change all the switches and buttons you want, okay? As you can see, you've got a keyboard and mouse, gamepad, joystick HOTAS.
Harry Uvert said, bothers me that you can't unwind, scroll up and scroll down to change walk speed. It always resets to default after game restart.
Ah, right, yeah. It's because there's got to be a state. I think the way that the scroll wheel works, it's not. It feels like an analog input, but it's not. And I think if the scroll wheel isn't moved, it's always set at 0, if you see what I mean. Does that make sense? So it's not like an analog thing where if my throttle is set to a value, then it doesn't matter what the game does, it should be back at that value. You know, if you see what I mean, where there's a scroll wheel, I don't think it's quite an analog control in its own right. Mouse directions, yes, but I don't think the scroll wheel is. I think it's just a series of like a switch, more of a switchy type thing, I think. Anyway, so you can go and change whatever you want, and you just go to advanced controls, okay? There's a lot of controls, and as a starter, as a new person, I wouldn't worry too much about other than the ones I've shown you. If you go onto keypad, keyboard and mouse, let's go back to here to make sure we actually get to the right one. Okay, if you go in here, you can find out exactly what the keys do. So your operator modes, look at M, sorry, I'll be down the bottom. There you go, button 3 mouse, okay, I didn't know that. And then here's your light amplification. The reason why you've got so many controls is you can set these on voice activation by using VAC. Which you can set keys and then basically tell your ship to do the stuff, and if you program it right, it'll do it. When you have got controls, you can actually save your settings. So if you've changed anything, like I changed mine a lot, so I change settings in here for me. At the moment I set some back because I don't normally have them on. Show hints usually when there's a new patch is worth having on. There's quite a few settings down here that I'll change, and then when I've changed them I can save all those options. Okay, so I would change all my settings here and then go to here and save these control settings. Typically, I would give them a month, right? So it's like February now, I'd put Feb 26, the next one would be Feb 2, 26, Feb 3, 26. The important thing is when you save them, they are pretty useless if you leave them where they are. So what you need to do is go and move them. And they should be under your Star Citizen folder structure, under user 0, and I think it's control and profile. So you'll see the name that you did. Now, because I've got the game on, I can't bring up all the windows I necessarily want. And then what you do is copy it to your desktop. And then you keep a copy on your desktop, and when the game gets updated, you put it back in the folder only once you've logged into the game and fired it up, and then use options, key bindings, flight, go back to the control you've got, and then you can load a profile. You can see I've got one here, Jan 26. And if you're using a joystick, it's extremely important.
/live/user/client/0/controls/mappings is empty for me.
That means you haven't saved it. So if you haven't saved it, there won't be anything there unless you've moved them out already. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. I'll do a temporary one. So I'll go control, save, call it test Jan. Right? That will save that set of profiles where I said it would. Okay? Interesting. Where has it gone? Oh. Let's go back, see if it's picked it up. There it is, yeah. It's because this doesn't refresh. So I've got a test Jan profile. And
say one for keyboard, mouse, and one for joystick, gamepad, and so on.
Yeah, effectively. But what you've got to be aware of when you're using, right, joysticks and stuff, if we just flick through here, go back to here, I don't want to default that at all. So just be careful with some of these. When you're using joysticks and things like that, right, if we go to flight movement as an example, the way this game works is different to most. In DCS, each device, in most things, the device is assigned a GUID, a graphical user ID, and that number, when you plug it in, the system, right, goes, I know you, this is you, I know what to do with you. When you use Star Citizen, it doesn't do it in the same way. So it uses a bog standard straight number, okay? My throttle is input 3. My joystick has nothing there, which means it's input 1, input 1. Okay? Sorry, not my throttle, my rudder is input 3. My throttle is input 2, input 2. Okay? I also have another 2 or 3 different things. And that matters because when you want to invert an axis, which sometimes you do, you have to know what number it is. And then you go to controls. On the bottom you go to joystick and you see joystick HOTAS 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Those relate to the 5 different things I've got plugged in. So HOTAS 3 would be my pedals, and I could go and find my pedals, flight movement, and invert my pitch. Okay, so my flight yaw, for instance, if I wanted to invert it, that's where I did do it. If I was on joystick HOTAS 1 or 2 and I did that, it would have no effect. So you need to know the differences between 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. And then when you go to import your joystick settings, test Jan, you want keyboard for keyboard, because if you're using a joystick you will have made an adjustment to the keyboard controls and disabled some to stop your mouse from flying your plane or ship. So you want your keyboard, your mouse is your mouse. My joystick is, look, I can choose any of them, but I want the joystick HOTAS Warthog. Right, the next one, number 2, is my throttle. So I want the throttle one. Number 3 are my pedals. So I want the TPR. Okay. Number 4, let's have a look. If I put that in there, and number 5 is that one. Okay. And then I say load, and then they should be back as they were. Okay, now sometimes, and this is, I haven't got the controls here, sometimes if you're unplugging your sticks and you plug them back in different sockets, or something fires up and is there first, it will relabel your joystick or semi pedals to maybe joystick 1, and it'll put my joystick at joystick 2. It'll put my throttle at joystick 3. So when I come to fly, right, my controls don't do what they're supposed to do. In fact, let's see if I've just messed that up. Got no throttle at the moment, look at that. I have got a speed limiter, but this is something I've noticed that happens after quantum sometimes. There we go, and now it started working. All right, so a quick check to make sure. There's my pitch, there's my roll, there's my yaw. Okay, so I know my three main controls are okay. If you want, you can strafe left, strafe right, up and down, and then I know everything's back. There are commands that if they are mixed up, I can't remember the commands, I've got them written down somewhere. You can go into the console and without reconfiguring all your controls, you can basically jiggle around. If 2 should be 1 and 3 should be 2, sorry, no, if 2 should be 1 and 1 should be 3 and so on, you can basically move those numbers around and put them all back together again using the console. And that way round, instead of you throwing your lid, getting frustrated that the controls aren't where they're supposed to be, there's a very easy way of doing it. If you don't know that, if anyone doesn't know that, let me know, and then when I stream next time, which will be Thursday, where we'll look at doing some mining maybe, and explaining through mining, explaining through combat, talking about convergence and lag pips and what the options are and so on, then I'll mention about those controls. Alright, is anyone, I know there's not many people on, but has anyone found anything useful at all, or something they didn't know? Next week should be more of a catch because everyone's on school holidays in the UK. Right, let's find my Seraphim.
Thanks for the tips of saving controls.
Yeah, welcome, matey. As I said,
Might save me future headaches.
yeah, what I do, and whenever you change anything, just make sure you save it. You can come out, right, depending how you got Star Citizen up. Now, you guys won't see this. People who are watching on YouTube will. Right, I can literally, I can find my mouse, go up to mine, and you can't see this. As I said, if you're on the YouTube channel, you can see what I'm doing. So I'll go to my Star Citizen folder, and what I tend to do, because I don't delete Star Citizen that much, is I keep them in the root directory. So my controls I'll keep. So if I go back to live, here you can see my layout, and they're always labelled layout underscore the name that you called it, and they live in user client 0 controls mappings, sorry, that's where they are, and you just copy those out and then put them back in after you've done your update. Right, where am I? Did I get to Seraphim then? I'll tell you what, I can't tell where I am now. Did I get here? Just looking for the lights. Now my keys stop working now. If not, if ever you want Seraphim, just go to OM5. If you go to OM5, Seraphim's always by it. So if we go here, for instance, you'll be able to see Seraphim. Seraphim always stays in the same place above the main city. It's not that one. Could be that. Yeah, it is. That was a little bit weird about the cargo. I don't know how people are supposed to do it. Used to be able to do, and my scanner's not working. Again, you can see by the circles on the bottom of these that we're on the wrong side. So I'm now in the queue, but I did see it pop up here, so I'll wait over here. And I expect to get a hanger in a second or two. Likely to be one of these two, unless it reassigns. You watch it suddenly change to over there.
What ships do you have?
I'll show you in a minute. There's a lot of the ships I've got are loaners for ships that I haven't got yet. There's a few ships I'm still waiting on. I've been waiting 10 years. So when I started playing Star Citizen, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. So I thought, oh, I'll try a bit of everything. This is a small hangar, they won't show there, so let me send this down.
To the ASOC vehicle retrieval system.
I also like alien ships,
Your vehicle has been moved to our storage facility.
but at the moment I don't have spare cash to buy stuff. On account of not working at this moment in time. I was working up until the beginning of January. So I'm good for about 6 months. Then I have to find something. Let's have a look if these are working. There's a couple of ships I've bought in game, but most of them. Gladius I bought when it come out, Harbinger, Arrow, don't know why I've got that. That one I bought in game. Hornets, Loners, Cartual, Nox I own, Mole, Raft, that was in game, Banu Defenders, Hoverquads, I haven't got these, Nomad I have, Spirit I have, Inferno and Iron. These are Loners, I'll tell you why in a minute. That one, a really nice ship. Caterpillar is mine, Clipper.
Wow, lots of ships.
There's a few. Corsair is really nice. Cutlass Black. When you start, once you've got used to it and made the decision, do you want to stick with it or do you want to get your money back because you've got a limited time money back option?
Like a few days ago.
Did you? The Cutlass Black is still one of the best all-round ships. It's got 46 SCUs, you can see. When there's 2 of you in it, you've got 6 size 3 guns.
Thank you.
And if you replace those with better guns and up the systems, we used to do all the PvE stuff in a Cutlass Black, and you could take out hammerheads and all sorts. Obviously things have changed, but it's such a good ship. You can put a vehicle in it, bikes in it, cargo in it. You can put Metal Mickey in it, etc., which we'll cover another day. Cutlass Blue, Cutlass Red I own. Cutter is a Christmas present I've got to give to someone, but he's not ready for it yet. Gollum I bought because I was quite interested, just in seeing it as a starter mining ship. Vulture, Glaive, Talons. That one, I just like the artwork, it's just ridiculous. Shiv, which is brilliant. It's a customised version of the Cutlass Black and jazzed up a bit, with some cracking weapons on it. Kruger is very nice, been doing a lot of fighting. Ulsey, Prospector, Reliant is a loner. Furies, I've got the different Furies. These are bought in game. That's, don't know why I've got that or that or that. I do have that. There's a lot of loner stuff. Do you see what I mean?
Lots you did said, some good ships in that list.
Yeah, there's some really nice ones. I've got the Banu Merchantman, which, as I said, I bought in 2014. I've also got, you know, that small, what's it called? That one that looks, or they've based it off the hovercraft for moving small ships around, where you can have a few small ships, and it's a repair place. I've got.
Harry Hubert said, Vulture is my favourite.
It's really nice,
The
isn't it?
design is superb and it can do lots of stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. And what else? There's the mobile refinery. There's a small ship, which is a mobile refinery I've got as well. But as I said, I haven't got any of those yet. So a lot of my ships, like when you see the Crusader, Hercules, those are lone ships. I've actually got a hull D, not a hull C. But every time they bring a new hull out, then you sort of get that as a loner. But that's about it. I've been playing since 2014, just when you got the hangar and you could go and sit in a ship in a hangar. But even climbing up the ship was not very good. You sort of climbed up the air, sat in a ship, and that was it, more or less. So, you know, when you see all these bugs and things...
About a year longer than me.
Yeah, when you see all these problems that occur, if you've been around a long time, you're just used to it. Do you know what I mean? There is definitely an improvement over time, even though it sounds weird. Definitely stability improvement. But where the annoyance comes in is they fix a few bugs, and then 2, 3, 4 patches later, those bugs have appeared again. Do you know what I mean? Especially the lifts. We never had real problems with this. We used to have a few, but since they changed the way it works, I think it was 4 or 5, where then you started having these trails. And you never know, you know, the trouble is with software is when you update things, there's always some unintended consequences. And then things go on priority lists. And then they're also rushing to bring more stuff out. And sometimes it does feel a little bit like that some of the problems have lingered far too long. But the trouble is with code, you know, when they introduce the things and the amount of changes and stuff gone on top, that code is going to be a bit of a nightmare to unpick, which is why I think they like redoing the whole transport stuff. You know, they're just getting better at things, and there's an element of, well, it makes sense to update stuff and I know people are impatient, but just roll with it, and that's it. Enjoy the time that you're playing when it's working, and if it's annoying you that much, then maybe it's time for a break for a bit. You know, there's plenty of other things. And they've got to get Squadron 42 right. They've got to get right. That was so broad, Black Country. They've got to get it really spot on. You'll have all the naysayers there as usual, but hey, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it for today. I do have to go to the... Oh, I forgot to drink my cup of tea. She's going to go up the wall. I'm going to have to go to the Quacks a bit later on. I will be on again Thursday, and we'll move forward a bit and look at mining, maybe basic mining for hand jobs, and then some of the vehicle, maybe the mech type stuff, and the ship mining and stuff like that. Yeah, with a hand tool. Right, okay, thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully there was some useful things in there, and I'll be signing off now. Those on